Toru Kirishima is a 28-year-old Sakuragi Yakuza lieutenant known as Sakuragi's demon for his brutality. After allowing a business meeting to devolve into a fight, his boss, Kazuhiko Sakuragi, decides to teach him responsibility by appointing Kirishima as guardian of his 7-year-old daughter, Yaeka. Kirishima has no experience with children, so he vents his rage on his patient subordinate, Kei Sugihara. They are followed by men from the meeting while walking Yaeka to school, but Kirishima is able to beat them without Yaeka noticing. Even when her aunt Konami pays her a visit, Yaeka becomes noticeably sadder. Kirishima, feeling worried, rummages through Yaeka's room and discovers an invitation for parents to visit the school. It dawns on her that Yaeka has no family to invite since Konami has work and Kazuhiko can't appear in public. Konami convinces Kirishima to go to the school as Yaeka's guardian, which cheers her up and enables her to communicate with him comfortably. Yaeka wants to give Kazuhiko a picture she drew of their family crest, but she is unsure until Kirishima tells her he was unsure about visiting the school, but he is glad he did. Reassured, Yaeka gives Kazuhiko the picture, making him very happy and bringing Kirishima and Yaeka closer together. Kazuhiko reminisces about Yaeka's mother, Miyuki, who is in the hospital. Yaeka misses her mother. Kazuhiko intends to pay a visit to Miyuki in the hospital, but two thugs dressed as Kirishima and Sugihara have been causing havoc around the hospital. Kirishima discovers that the imposters were hired by another rival Yakuza family. Yaeka invites Kirishima and Sugihara to a fireworks festival, where Kirishima wins a toy rabbit. Kirishima locates the thugs, but due to worrying about Yaeka, releases them with a minor beating. Returning home, Kirishima finds Yaeka asleep, having tried to stay awake until he came home. Kirishima finds he actually likes someone waiting for him. Kirishima is surprised when Yaeka asks him what his mother was like. Kazuhiko reveals Miyuki has been in a coma for years, and he stopped taking Yaeka to visit her mother as she would cry every time. Yaeka insists she doesn't want to see Miyuki. So, using simple language, Kirishima persuades Yaeka that her mother loves her so much that she refuses to go to heaven. Yaeka agrees to pay a visit, and Kirishima recalls that Miyuki asked him to care for both Yaeka and Kazuhiko until she awoke. Yaeka learns Kirishima is called Sakuragi's demon and refuses to believe it, claiming he is too nice, and she wants to be like him, though Kirishima is sure Kazuhiko wouldn't be happy if she did. At the hospital, Yaeka is able to apologize to Miyuki for not visiting, and hopes she can wake up soon. She also gives her pictures of everyone, including Kirishima, so she doesn't feel lonely. Kazuhiko apologizes to Miyuki for being a bad father without her after Yaeka and Kirishima leave to get food. Kirishima comes across Toichiro Aoi, a former Yakuza member who left after becoming a parent, in the hospital shop. Koki, Toichiro's 6-year-old son, develops feelings for Yaeka. Worried, Yaeka claims Kazuhiko isn't upset with Toichiro for abandoning the family, and Toichiro promises to return someday. Konami is amused because she knows Toichiro trained Kirishima and that Kirishima has unconsciously adopted Toichiro's parenting style in caring for Yaeka. Returning home, they come across a stray kitten and a girl named Hanada Ayumu, a runaway who stopped to care for the kitten. Yaeka decides to adopt the cat and names it Ohaji. Ayumu can return home. Ohaji causes chaos when she causes two Yakuza members to break a valuable antique. Kazuhiko is furious but relents when Yaeka and Ohaji ask him to. He remembers Miyuki intervening when he was furious at Kirishima and decides Yaeka looks exactly like Miyuki. A dangerous man who has been spying on Kirishima believes he should not be forced to play the role of a parent and decides to take action. Kazuhiko instructs Kirishima to create videos with Sugihara explaining the changes in society now that they are struggling to make money, and he wants social media videos that will make the Yakuza popular. He also demands that this information be kept hidden from other Yakuza families because admitting they need help making money would bring shame to the family's name. Yaeka notices Kirishima's distress. Finally, under the guise of Teen Cherry, they produce a slew of videos depicting typical Yakuza activities as amusing pastimes. Sugihara becomes concerned when other video creators try to figure out their identities, so they post a video claiming to be fake Yakuza working for a film company, apologize for misleading their viewers, and stop posting new videos. This backfires when their supposed honesty makes them even more popular. Kazuhiko insists they start recording songs, which turns into a live concert, appearing on television and even attending official functions to meet foreign royalty. Kirishima becomes so busy, he can't take Yaeka to and from school anymore, and she misses him. Awakening from a nightmare of neglecting Yaeka to become a pop star, Kirishima swears to never make another video again and returns to caring for Yaeka, even punishing Sugihara when he tries to show him another video. The news that Kirishima is a babysitter spreads, leading some to believe that he is no longer Sakuragi's demon, as Yanagi, a Kusagami Yakuza lieutenant, is. On his day off, Kirishima bumps into old classmate Rei Hojo, who comments he looks happy for once. Kirishima forces Yanagi to leave a restaurant owned by the Sakuragi family where Kirishima and Hojo are drinking. Hojo is taken aback by Kirishima's cool demeanor. Yanagi devises a plan for vengeance. Yaeka and Konami run into Ayumu and invite her to bake cakes with them. Kazuhiko instructs Kirishima to call and reserve a table at the restaurant, but Kirishima overhears Yanagi at the restaurant again. Yanagi announces the Kusagami family has taken over the restaurant from the Sakuragi family, bragging that Kirishima is no longer a threat, but Kirishima arrives and easily beats up Yanagi. On his way home, Kirishima meets the dangerous man spying on him, Yuri Mashiro, lieutenant of the Momoyama Yakuza, but ignores him and returns home where Yaeka has baked him a cake. Sugihara is told to bury Yanagi and his friend up to their necks as punishment. Later, Mashiro approaches the buried Yanagi and his friend and is surprised Kirishima left them alive. It is implied Mashiro murders both men. Kirishima is reminded that Yaeka's birthday is approaching, but he is disappointed when Yaeka avoids the subject. On their way home, they run into Hojo, who informs Kirishima that Masaya Hanami, Kirishima's violent high school rival, has been released from prison. Kirishima discovers that since Yaeka's mother was admitted to the hospital, her birthdays have only been spent with Kazuhiko and Konami, and because they are Yakuza, she is unable to invite friends. Unsure what gift to get, Kirishima decides to help Konami with cooking for the party since cooking is what he remembers most about birthdays with his mother. At the park with Sugihara, Yaeka meets a young girl named Sarah and they become friends. Returning home, Yaeka discovers Sarah and her father Leon moved in next door and are now neighbors, so she invites them to her birthday. To hide they are Yakuza, Kirishima poses as Kazuhiko's butler. Meanwhile, Leon has an outgoing personality and insists on being friendly neighbors with Kazuhiko, which Kazuhiko is forced to agree to in order to maintain their charade of normalcy. Kirishima reveals after the party that he made omurice for Yaeka because it was his favorite birthday meal. Meanwhile, to celebrate his release from prison, Masaya decides to track down and murder Kirishima. Masaya refuses to believe Sakuragi's demon has transformed into a babysitter until he sees Kirishima with Yaeka and is disappointed. Masaya reveals that he only joined a Yakuza family because Kirishima did and he hoped they would naturally meet again to fight, but he was imprisoned before that happened. Kirishima, irritated, reveals a small portion of his suppressed demon before Yaeka calms him down. Masaya is collected by his boss, head of the Kakahara Yakuza, who doesn't want conflict with the Sakuragi. The whole thing is witnessed by Mashiro. Sugihara attends a business meeting with a developer named Kono, who tries to take advantage of him without Kirishima present to pay the Sakuragi less money. However, Sugihara reveals he is still a formidable Yakuza by himself, exposes Kono's criminal activities in Sakuragi territory, cancels their deal and punishes Kono violently. Sugihara recalls being a shoplifter until Kirishima caught him stealing from a Yakuza protected shop and hired him for his exceptional tea-making abilities. Mashiro pays a visit to Kono and reveals that he arranged for Kono to antagonize Sugihara and was impressed by Sugihara's reaction, as he doesn't want his boss to know what he is doing. Mashiro is said to have murdered Kono. Sugihara returns home and is overjoyed when Kirishima requests a cup of tea. Sarah starts attending Yaeka's school and quickly makes friends. Toichiro pays a visit to Kazuhiko and brings Koki along to play with Yaeka. Toichiro and Kazuhiko end up reminiscing because they haven't seen each other in years. Toichiro was Kazuhiko's lieutenant 8 years ago, before Miyuki was hospitalized and Kirishima was still an irresponsible young Yakuza who hadn't earned his nickname yet. Toichiro was thankful to have found a family in the Sakuragi Yakuza, and he was even happier when he met his wife Sani and they had Koki together. Unfortunately, when he was almost killed on a job, Sani developed hyperpnea, and even a little stress could make her very ill, so Toichiro retired with Kazuhiko's blessing. His retirement allowed Kirishima to be promoted and eventually become Sakuragi's demon. Now in the present, Toichiro is glad to see everyone is happier and is not surprised that Kirishima enjoys looking after Yaeka, as he also used to do it when she was a newborn. At school, Yaeka becomes friends with a girl named Kade, and Kirishima is glad to see Yaeka becoming happier. Kirishima notices Yaeka, Sugihara, and the other subordinates plotting something against him. Kirishima explains everyone's secretive behavior after Kazuhiko interrupts the commotion. Kazuhiko scolds Kirishima for almost losing his temper, but then begins acting strangely himself to keep Kirishima distracted. The secret is revealed to be a surprise birthday party for Kirishima, which Yaeka had planned while everyone else plotted to distract Kirishima. Kirishima is moved because he had forgotten his own birthday. Yaeka discovers at the party that Kirishima has a favorite dish, dashi tofu. Konami recalls how useless Kirishima was as a young man, but his forgetfulness led to him purchasing one of Yaeka's favorite toys, a stuffed sheep named Mime. They also reminisce about how Kazuhiko first met Miyuki when she was working in a flower shop. They realized they both had an interest in flower arranging, and Miyuki asked Kazuhiko on a date without even realizing. Despite his stern demeanor, Miyuki realized Kazuhiko was a kind man and had so much fun they agreed to a second date. Konami realized that everyone used to be happy together, but after Miyuki entered hospital it felt like everyone she cared about had drifted apart, so she is very happy Yaeka has been bringing them back together. A man secretly photographs Yaeka. The following day, Kirishima is stopped by three men, one of whom is Shinmoto and who has kidnapped Yaeka. Kirishima is forced to submit to the beating until Shinmoto hits Yaeka as well. Kirishima breaks Shinmoto's arm, beats him severely and almost shoots him in the head, but Yaeka wakes up. Yaeka is rushed to the hospital by Kirishima, who diagnoses her with concussion. Kirishima is desperate for vengeance, but Kazuhiko reminds him that it is his responsibility to care for Yaeka, and that since his daughter was attacked, it is Kazuhiko's responsibility to find the perpetrators. Kirishima defies orders and flees. Masaya bumps into him and tries to goad Kirishima into a fight, but he is thrown aside. As he passes out, Masaya sees madness in Kirishima's eyes. Having orchestrated Yaeka's kidnapping, Mashiro hopes he is about to witness something fun. Sugihara learns Shinmoto used to be in Amaya Yakuza, and his associates, Agawa and Yano, used to be Shirakawa Yakuza, both families Kirishima helped destroy. Kazuhiko realizes that the attack on Yaeka was not directed at the Sakuragi, but rather at Kirishima personally. Kirishima systematically targets former Amaya and Shirakawa members. Mashiro watches from the shadows with glee as Sakuragi's demon reappears. Kirishima can be stopped by Kazuhiko. Kirishima apologizes, but Kazuhiko tells him that he is Yaeka's babysitter and that Sakuragi's demon should stay in the past. Kirishima returns to the hospital, where Yaeka is awake. Yaeka later requests to attend a fireworks display, but there are no public ones. Instead, Kirishima organizes a private exhibition. After the fireworks, Sugihara receives a strange text from Kirishima to look after Yaeka. Kirishima left the Yakuza to avoid further trouble, according to Kazuhiko. Yaeka is devastated. Elsewhere, Kirishima plays Russian roulette by himself and is disappointed when he survives. Sugihara decides to drag Kirishima back home. Mashiro locates Kirishima and boasts he knew Sakuragi's demon was still alive deep in Kirishima's soul. He hints he orchestrated Kirishima's current situation. Kirishima almost shoots him, but misses. Toichiro sees Kirishima in a park and, even though he doesn't know what happened, advises Kirishima to go home. Sugihara and Yaeka enter the park. Sugihara confronts Kirishima about his selfishness, demanding that he apologize, move on, and return to normalcy. Kirishima recognizes Sugihara's point of view and agrees to return. Yaeka forbids Kirishima from fleeing home again. Kirishima decides to atone by chopping off one of his fingers. Sugihara tries to stop him, but they both make too much noise and Kazuhiko punishes them both. Yaeka is upset because Kirishima knew her when she was a baby, but she has no idea how he was back then. Yaeka decides Kirishima's atonement is to tell her a story from his youth. Yaeka meets Toichiro's wife Sani and their baby daughter Hina at his home. Yaeka sees Kirishima with Toichiro, and Sani explains that they have always behaved the same way, even as young men. Toichiro shows Yaeka a picture of her as a baby with Kirishima. Toichiro explains after Kirishima had gotten in yet another fight, Kazuhiko put him under house arrest. During that time, Kirishima began spending time with baby Yaeka, and the photograph of them was actually taken by her mother Miyuki. Yaeka decides she wants to take Miyuki flowers in hospital. Yaeka suggests Kirishima buy some Kumichō flowers, which were his mother's favorite while she was pregnant with him. Mashiro's plotting continues elsewhere. Kirishima brings the flowers to his mother's grave and recalls that in flower language, the Kumichō represents the preservation of happy memories. He promises his mother that he will continue to strive to be a better man. Yaeka describes how her life has improved since Kirishima became her babysitter.